Your inner knowing, your inner wisdom talks to you in two main ways, like through your feelings and through symbols and metaphor, right? Like through your dreams and stuff. But that both of those are really confusing ways, right? Especially when you look at the symbols and metaphors your subconscious pulls in from the collective subconscious.
In a world that can feel incredibly divided right now, it can feel scary to talk about almost anything because you might be worried about offending someone. And it's tricky to be in a space right now of maybe not knowing all the answers and feeling like you need to know all the answers or need to be hyper aware of what might be upsetting or conflicting opinions and perspectives. I feel it's more important than ever to go back to maybe more what the ancient Greek philosophers had, where they and the Stoics would discuss philosophy out in the town square among all of the people, and anybody who wanted to listen could come and listen and engage, and they would just talk through the questions of life and what matters and what might be real. And it was done in a way that I think we really could benefit from right now, just having more conversations. So I'm hopeful that with everything you're going to hear in this discussion, I'm hopeful that you'll hear it more as just discussing lots of ideas and possibilities, and that you'll weigh in the comments with your own ideas and possibilities of whatever is coming up for you with the topics that we're discussing. And I hope that it will inspire you to think a little bit deeper and expand your perspective while also helping you form your own opinions and better inform your own perspectives.
Hello, I have such a big treat for you today. I've invited my bestie Calli on. She is this incredible coach and healer, and I'm just so pumped that she would join me. We have the most epic philosophical conversations every day. Like, they never stop. Oh, I just learned this, and what about this, and I just read this, and like, we're always thinking through life and what it means and how to do it in a way that feels good and that isn't more trauma inducing. And so
right.
So we're going to have a little conversation today about feelings and why we avoid them and what to do about them, and just some other thoughts about like why we're avoiding them and what's happening. So I'm excited for you guys to join us, and we're just going to chat. And if you have questions or you'd like to hear us talk more about some things in the future, let us know in the comments, because we would absolutely love to keep talking and sharing insights as much as it's helpful. So Calli, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Quinn. I feel very lucky to be here always, and our conversations are life-giving, and they make the days amazing.
So we want to talk about how feelings... You're fine unless you're like right in it. So yeah, me, Bennett, and Calli are joined today to talk about feelings.
Hi, buddy.
Ben, are you ready to talk about feelings? You're the most exciting thing that's happened to him today. So
It's amazing.
He's living it up. Yeah, what sparked this is, I don't know, that was kind of an epiphany in and of itself when I found myself writing that in the newsletter, to be like, your inner knowing, your inner wisdom talks to you in two main ways, like through your feelings and through symbols and metaphor, right? Like through your dreams and stuff. But that both of those are really confusing ways, right? Especially when you look at the symbols and metaphors your subconscious pulls in from the collective subconscious. It's like you could have a dream about a creature you've never seen and then find out that creature lives in Asia or something.
Right.
You know, it's like, and you would have never had any reference point. So that's why I love Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious, because it's like, yeah, we are tapped into that whole thing, right? And so you'll get symbols coming up and you could just take them at face value. Like in some of my dreams lately, I'll be like, okay, this doesn't mean anything probably. Like, you were in my dream last night, actually. I mean, it's a good example. It's like you were trying to leave a house with an ex-husband where there was a lot of pain and struggle, and you were trying to move to a new house where it was like a peaceful place for you. You were trying to start over, but everybody that was like supposedly your friends kept wanting to use your old house because it was like so nice or so cool or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like you could have a dream like that, and I could even tell you the next day like I am now and be like, I had this crazy dream about you. Isn't that weird?
Right.
But then when you actually look at the symbols, then you start to see like, okay, when a close friend shows up in a dream, that's a symbol for an intimate part of yourself that you love and trust, right? So cool. And that you're needing to move out of this painful situation, which is what the house represents, into more of a healthy situation, and that your soul which was who I was representing in the dream, is trying to help myself to move, but I keep staying in that house because of people-pleasing tendencies. You know, it's like suddenly it takes these stupid dreams and you're like, oh my gosh, my whole life is clear now because I understand what it's trying to tell me.
Symbolism, yeah, that is so cool.
So it's like, how can we understand our inner wisdom when we don't understand symbols? And that's a whole other story for another time. But then how do we understand what our inner wisdom is trying to tell us when it's largely through how we feel? And that is so messy in our world that, like, there's even, for Pete's sake, there's like charts of point to the feeling that you're feeling because people can't even just name it, right? It's like we're so, in a lot of ways, like illiterate or just disconnected from our feelings. So I'd say like that feels to me like I just want to make a case for like your feelings aren't stupid, just like your dreams aren't stupid. These things are really important guiding lights to help you. And just maybe even speaking to the wrestling you and I have done over our lives of trying to just ignore the feeling, fight the feeling, numb the feeling, or face it. And just your huge epiphany of the feeling is your body barometer being like, yep, you're on track, or no, you're on track.
Yeah, that warmer, colder.
Yeah, so I think like, you know, it's just that. Just a real simple podcast about this stuff we talk about all the time.
Usually what we do.
Yeah.
It's so simple. As you were talking, I was thinking of when I was like 22, 23, I got really sick. And I had this story that I couldn't feel my body. And my mom had a friend who was kind of an intuitive lady. And I was telling her, I said, I just am not very connected to my body, but I can tell when I take this medicine that it's fake. And she's like, sounds like you're actually connected to your body. And that was like oh. And so as you're talking to him, I was just remembering that it's almost like we don't even know. It's like, oh no, that is you listening. The fact that I could feel a chemical in my body was actually, no, you are feeling your body. And then the conversations I'm having with my oldest right now, where she is convinced I can't hear grandma, I can't hear anything. And then I'm talking to her and she's like, my throat's hurting. And when my throat's hurting, that means I'm not supposed to do something. I'm like,
wow.
Like for someone who doesn't think you can hear yourself, you know that when your throat feels this way, that is your body saying something's off.
I love this as an example because it also brings up what happens in the self-fulfilling prophecy that we can create with feelings, where an easy example of, say you're really worried about a test. And so then you feel that worry and you're like, oh my gosh, the worry means I'm gonna do bad.
Yes.
Like as if it's just decreed from the book of life, right? And then you actually, as a result of the anxiety, you're not focused, you can't remember stuff, and so then you actually do bad on the test.
Right.
So I think it's like we have these examples in our lives where like, I just knew. Right? And I knew it was right. And it like, and we believe that part. But then we also really misinterpret our feelings all the time to think they're telling us what they're not.
Right. So how do you tell the difference? How do you tell the difference between this is my knowing and this is a story? And I think that fear is the indicator, right?
Fear is huge, yeah.
Because if fear is involved, I think finding our intuition is a disaster. It makes it very difficult because fear puts us out of our body and up into our mind and into a fight-flight state. And our intuition and in our knowing is more in a rest digest or more down in, like in our belly or in our heart. And so I think that to be able to distinguish, is this intuition or is this not? I think you could ask how much fear is involved in the conversation in my head right now.
Such a good point.
Or how much involved is what other people are going to think of me? Or am I thinking that if I do this, then it's, again, just not that I'm not going to be safe? Or I really do, I think that the indicator is the fear. Where's the fear? Is it there or not? And if it's not, because I've felt I feel like there's two kinds of experiences with fear. The one is, no, this scares the heck out of me, but I know in my soul I'm going to do it. Versus the kind that just completely shuts you down.
Which is so fascinating when those things show up, right? Because you could have something that you feel really meant to do and have that fear that's going to shut you down show up. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't do the thing, right? So it's like, then that's why it's so important to look at where's the feeling coming from? What story am I telling myself? Which was a key point I really wanted to share in this, or just make sure we emphasize. And I want to come back to what you were saying, is the fact that like our feelings come from our thoughts. Usually it's a profound concept. Like, say my daughter comes up and she's got a really big feeling. She's just feeling very anxious about school or something else she's just not even aware of. The first thing I'll ask her is, well, what's the story you're telling yourself right now? Like, or what's the scary story that you're believing right now? And usually she's not even conscious of it. But then to ask the question gets her thinking about, like, oh, I guess I was nervous about this and then this, and then she can kind of unpack it. But I think, like, that distinction of that your thoughts are actually what's leading to the feelings is a huge thing. And that your beliefs are just thoughts that you have regularly all the time, right? But it feels like we keep trying to get into this from all these angles because it's a big subject. But I wondered if you could maybe speak to, like, the huge shift that happened for you when or just even how you came to learn it or whatever comes to you, but just like
the rest digest versus like
the
truth. Like, oh, this
is, and how you learned that, like, that the truth, your body is anchored in truth, right? That it's actually trying to tell you the truth when you get those responses.
So the way that I discovered the truth versus the lie was in communication with my mom, who's was on the other side there to decipher our own truth through our feelings, right? Like, and I mean, you're bringing this up even in just like creating something, right? Like, where do I go next, or do I just quit? Do I just quit on the dream because this is silly and my feelings don't matter, actually, which I think is definitely something that most of us come to find out. You know, like in my work a lot, that's something that no, it's stupid. It's stupid to need love. It's stupid to need someone to tell me I look cute today or something. Like, it's very interesting how often feelings are dumb. They're dumb. So I think that when I believe that I am here to prove myself, or I am here in essence to be punished when I step out of line, it makes deciphering feelings interesting because it makes believing the good thing really hard. In all transparency, I discovered my body's communication of truth by being in love with this person who I couldn't, because of the way he was behaving, there was no way he could love me. There was no way he could love me. And so I was constantly having that conversation in my head of, he doesn't love me, there's no way he loves me, can we just move on? That's what I was telling myself over and over and over again. And there was this one time I remember I was driving to Salt Lake and I was on the freeway and my mom's voice broke through and she just said, will you just stop? He loves you. And I stopped trying to believe he didn't. And it was like the most euphoric feeling. I finally went out of this like resistance and just into this letting go. And it's just like, what if it just is? I mean, here I'm trying to convince myself that someone doesn't love me. Well, fast forward 8 years. This person very much loves me and loved me the entire time. But we all have trauma. And so, in essence, to believe someone's behavior is more important than their feeling, right? Like, I mean, think of how we would behave in junior high or elementary school around the person we liked. We would be weird, or sometimes the boy would bully the girl. And so if we go off of what we see, we can be so easily fooled. Where if we can learn to feel what our truth is, no one can fool us. So, but it's finding what that is for you. I think to be able, for myself, to be really good at it, it very much is dependent on, do I believe the universe is loving and wanting us to follow our dreams? You know, that kind of a thing. Is it loving and inspiring and supportive and caring? Or is it this thing that the minute I step out of line, it can't wait to punish me? Because it's crazy. Even as I'm trying to teach my oldest daughter this, it's insane how hard it is to trust the good thing. Logically, it makes more sense for us to just go to the scariest thing, because then we can be prepared. Well, just in case. And then I think that's where what you were just saying, I'm going to do bad on this test, so I do.
Oh, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, self-fulfilling prophecy. Exactly. Yeah. And so, I mean, just watching her at 19 put so much, like she just started an EMT course. If you fail the course, you fail the course. But when you're 19 and there's all this pressure to find out what you're doing, failing the course can feel like the end of the world. But again, that's if it's like, well, you're young and you have all of this time ahead of you, so if you can get it right, then you can get ahead of the game, versus you're lazy or you're going to get it wrong. So the thing that we're here inside of and experiencing, is it loving or is it not? If you feel safe, how much easier would it be to actually find yourself and feel what's true, instead of always trying to dodge getting in trouble in some way and just trying to stay small because it hurts a lot less.
Yeah, it's so well said. This is what blows my mind with that concept of like, is the universe loving or not, and how that determines our feelings and our experience of reality. Is the other thing that happens is, I think, because our society has been in a very fear-based type of belief system for a long time, of like, it's a test. You could fail, you could go to hell, or you could go to heaven if you're lucky, and if you do all the right things all the time. Then here's where I think we've just gotten in such a habit as a society of just ignoring, running away from, and numbing our feelings, because we just absolutely can't take it. Because I think it feels like, for most people, that all those feelings are just confirming their worthlessness.
Right.
They're confirming their lack of potential, right?
Or even, what's the point of having them?
Yeah,
because
it's like an alarm, right?
Or the power source is outside of us. The power source is in the government. The power source is in your boss. The power source is in whether or not the viewers will watch your video. It's almost like you were saying in the beginning, the feelings get in the way, right? That was the thing that I think for you and I growing up, if we could control them instead of listen to them or set them free to be the guide, is like, how can we control them and to be quiet? I mean, when I first did plant medicine, I saw that I had created this like straight line that completely bypassed my heart, my feelings, because they got in the way of my obedience.
What do you even do with them?
Yeah. And so how much sense would it make as you are trying to do something that's creative? It's creative. It comes from your heart or your right brain, and you're trying to manage that with a left brain or with control, or instead of, I would imagine that our creative selves are going to be born in a creative environment.
Well, it reminds me of the quote I heard recently of, you're either in a creative state or a survival state.
Right. And if you're surviving, then you're just going to listen to the person with the most power. And that is all, I think, built in stories in our mind. I think that the collective story is definitely demonstrating that we don't believe in a loving, taking care of, supportive, whatever this is.
Not at all. It's that survival of the fittest instinct. And if you have more than I have, then I have less. And if you take all the opportunities, there's no opportunities left for me, kind of a feeling.
I mean, honestly, I think a lot of us feel like whatever it is doesn't care.
Yeah, absolutely. It just takes me back to that numbing, disregarding, like not sure what to do with your feelings predicament that most people are in. It feels like a fire alarm that's just going off in the house all the time, that there's a fire, and there's a part of us that's just like, that's Earth. It's just what it's like. It's on fire all the time. And so that alarm gets annoying. Sometimes I have to take some alcohol so I can calm it down. Sometimes I got to go numb out on social media scrolling for a while to forget about it, right? And trying to avoid those feelings, like you said, like that line away from the heart, instead of actually listening to them. But here's what I think is really interesting that I'm super excited to ask your opinion on, is I think a lot of times in just where psychology is right now and the mental health and wellness space, there's this attitude of just naming your feelings, that's the goal. And I feel like a lot of times it just kind of stops there. Like it's like this, you just need a high emotional EQ, right? Like you need to just be aware, oh, that's anger, oh, that's whatever. But to me, I feel like it's just naming, oh, that's a fire alarm and that's going off. But it's not, I don't know, I personally haven't experienced a lot of good skills of what to do with those feelings. Even like, for example, one of my daughters was really struggling with big feelings and went to a school counselor to talk about it. And the school counselor was like, oh, that's called anxiety. And that means you should probably talk to a doctor about getting some anti-anxiety medication, right? Here's how you make it so you can't hear that alarm anymore. And I'm not saying that anti-anxiety medication or antidepressants aren't warranted and that they aren't helpful. They totally can be.
Right.
But I feel like that's the response right now. And it's a part of the problem of why it's like, well, choose your drug of choice. Are you going to go with antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication? Are you going to go with drugs, alcohol, social media? How are you going to numb out? Food? What's your drug of choice? Instead of actually addressing it. It's just like blowing away the smoke and never taking care of the fire.
Right. I mean, but what you just described was, oh, you have feelings. They're called this. This will take it away.
Yep.
This will take your feelings away.
Which, when I did my video on anxiety and I was doing SEO research just fast, craziest, the most common phrase was, how do I stop feeling anxious? Right? It's like, how do I turn it off?
Yeah.
Totally that.
So you've been telling me all the cool stuff you've been experiencing with Gemini, with the AI, and just that the conversation around just there's so much information coming in that if we don't have a sense of our own knowing or that own like, oh, that's my truth. Like I just found when my body is like, the thing that I just heard, that's true for me. And like even in your amazing zine, you were just showing me like, is there one truth? Is there just one truth? Or what if every single one of us has our own truth?
Right.
And maybe that's actually the issue, is if when there are people who want everybody to believe one truth, then they do that by getting us to shut our feelings off.
It would make sense. It's a smart way to do it because when people have feelings, they can react, right?
Yep.
And revolt or fight against it. Yeah.
And then then if we can create this equation that my feelings are why I'm getting punished, or my feelings are why things are not going well for me. My feeling of not wanting to do this is causing me to be lazy, and that's why I can't have the thing that I want. Then it's very easy to have us all on board with kill the feelings. If they would just go away.
Yeah, it's like if I could just stop feeling anxious, I could create whatever I wanted to create.
If I could just stop feeling love for this person, if I could just stop feeling this dream, if I could just stop caring what people think about me. It's just if I could just shut it all off.
Yeah, so that's the dilemma.
Perfect. Good luck.
What's really, we're done. But
we
what's
have named the pain.
What's exciting, I think, and why I was so pumped to have this conversation with you is because I feel like now you and I are living every day. We're more in a space of valuing, listening to, and working with our feelings, and it changes everything, right? To be able to see, for example, what you're saying with everything I'm working on creatively, when I go to sit down to paint and these feelings of dread or anxiety are showing up, instead of me just reaching for a cookie or even like a podcast to numb out the noise of the story and calm it down, instead I am becoming relentless, as I know you are. You've really inspired me a lot in this way of just the relentlessness that it can require sometimes to ask the questions, like to say, okay, why am I feeling this way? What is coming up? What's the story I'm telling myself? And is that story true? Am I actually in danger? Is this really a threat? So that then you can start helping your body relax more and see all of life is not a threat. Something new is not a threat. It's almost like that we've built up this world where everything is scary at all times. Like even just watching how people interact with each other, constantly afraid of what they could do to each other, or what they could do to them, and they don't want to get hurt, and you hurt me, and you ruined my life. And those stories are scary stories. Like if somebody could literally just say something and it destroys you,
right?
Or if they could do something and it ruins your life. Those are very, very scary stories. And I'm not going to paint with such a broad brush to not say that there are incredibly difficult scenarios and very difficult things that can happen in life that you could say in theory ruined somebody's life. But I've even looked at, I don't know if we want to go here, I might edit this out, but like even say you in a fit of rage kill someone, right? In essence, your life should be ruined after that. You should never be able to be happy, healthy, or anything ever again. You might as well just die. It's over for you. You ruined it, right? Like when I really look at that type of scenario, which is really dramatic and drastic, and I recognize kind of sensitive, but to me, I think that's so depressing. Like, is it really true? You could do something and you could ruin your life. You could ruin your family's life. You could, it's just so fascinating. These stories are terrifying. Like when I looked back at my childhood, especially with the Christian upbringing of like a Satan that is there at every turn that could be tempting me and I wouldn't even know it was him, and all he wants is to keep me from God and to make me do bad things that are going to make it so I can't be with God and be loved. That is a terrifying story that will lead to big feelings of anxiety and fear.
Amen. And so with that story comes, you just have to survive here, right?
Yeah.
So here is not where you experience relaxation or joy. And one of my recent experiences, I saw it as always having to be in some form of resistance, like a tug of war. And it was Satan is on one end and I'm on the other, because if I am not always consciously resisting him, then he has me.
Yeah.
And just the other day realized that the way for me to feel safe is to always be afraid.
Wow, say more about that. That makes a lot of sense.
The way you stay safe is to always be afraid. Like if you're always worrying and you're always afraid, then you can be safe. But if you relax, again, like that tug of war, you relax and you stop resisting the evil, you stop resisting the bad, and you are not constantly striving for the good, it's over. I mean, as I've been falling asleep lately, it's just telling myself it's okay to relax. Like, it's actually okay. And I had a body work appointment and he was working on my rib cage and he was asking me about a bird in a cage. And I'm thinking, this has come up lots of times for me. And that cage is fear, right? Like the reality that I was told about who I am and what I'm doing here, where I'm going, where I came from, it made sense to build a cage. To build a cage and live in the cage. That's how I can stay safe. But there's a reality where I don't need a cage at all. But that is probably one of the most powerful, even the most scary things to realize is the power of that story. Because who really knows which one's true? Do I really need to live in a cage? Or do I not? But if I trusted my body, if I trusted that my body knows the truth and it will communicate that through feeling, I don't need to live in a cage.
Yeah.
So,
and the alternative is to just stay in the cage and live anxious all the time.
Yes. And try to get the feelings to go away because they're a pain.
Yeah. They're a real pain.
As you were saying, like you murdered someone, I thought we don't even have to go that far anymore. We could have just said something mean to someone.
Oh my
we
gosh,
could have,
yeah.
We could have just made fun of a person in junior high, and that's all it takes.
Yep.
Like, or we don't even need to do anything except not send money to Africa, and that's all it takes. Like, we literally, inside of the reality that both of us were raised in, there's legitimately no room for happiness or joy or receiving or relaxation. Because, to even have a savior, we owe him
Everything. And you can't even do enough.
You can't do enough
to be enough for that.
No. So for someone who is wanting to choose to trust their emotions, there's a lot that's going to go into that, right? It's almost like there has to be a reality where that makes sense.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up. I feel like this is the crux of this whole conversation, right? Because I think I've been on the train of like, let's be more emotionally connected and let's be more emotionally aware. But then through your coaching work, where you keep seeing this over and over again, that is the thing,
right?
Like it actually makes sense to numb your emotions and turn them off and ignore them when you believe certain things versus be emotionally aware and go after it. Like, what's this emotion trying to tell me? Anyways,
well,
it's
no,
huge.
Yeah. I had this thought come to mind, and I hope it translates, but when you're little, being told that it's not supposed to rain on Tuesday, and every time it rains on Tuesday, it's because you're not enough, you didn't do what you were supposed to. So if you can try really hard to be perfect, then it won't ever rain on Tuesday. And Tuesday comes around, and 8 out of 10 times it rains on Tuesday. And And so in the week, you're trying to figure out how you can matter more, how you can be better, who you need, how you can make it up to someone, how you can become more selfless. And Tuesday comes around and it rains again. And then one day I stumble upon this plant medicine and it's like, oh yeah, FYI, it's going to rain on Tuesday, probably about 8 out of 10 times.
Right. Nothing's wrong. Nothing broke.
No,
and it wasn't you.
Like, think of that. Oh, BT dubs. It's always going to rain 8 out of 10 times on Tuesday.
Right.
And I went through my entire life believing that I'm this small because it rained on Tuesday, all because of a perspective that someone gave me. All because someone said to me, if you were good enough, it's not going to rain on Tuesday.
It reminds me of just like trying to avoid just what life is. Like the human experience.
Like literally, yeah. Like
how do we get out of that?
Yes. Yeah. So the sun's not supposed to come up every day. Son of a, like, we have been trying.
Get our act together.
Like, I think, I kind of want it to come up if I'm being honest, but I guess if I'm supposed to, like, really, make it not come up, I guess I'll keep trying. So, anyway, it's, this is a big topic, I think. And also, like, the journey of allowing our emotional beings to have a place. I mean, there's going to be trauma in there. There's going to be a lot in there. And so, I mean, to even think that somebody's dream propels them to go to these places where you think you're creating a zine or you think you're creating a YouTube channel and really you're healing your own trauma in the process, right? Like you're coming back to life and it's the thing that's pushing you to do it.
I was just seeing like you working with people in both coaching and medicine spacing and seeing even just some of like the absolute terror to feel certain things, right? Like that's a pretty common experience. Or it's like, what are we avoiding down there? Like when it was when you mentioned trauma. Where you're just like, you're going to find trauma down there. Right. By the way, it rains on Tuesday.
Right. Yeah, and you're like, wow, that changes things. On that note, one very interesting thing is that in a journey, it can put you into a place of having this full body experience that you are fundamentally okay. Everything is okay. And so I had a client who was experiencing that, and she's like, I'm good. Like, I know right now that I'm okay, so I'm good. And I'm like, okay.
Oh dear.
So that's great news. It's like,
right around that corner.
Yes. So that's where I talk about an operating system. The operating system that I was given didn't allow me to believe I was fundamentally okay because I was told it's not supposed to rain on Tuesday. And so every time it rains on Tuesday, you get to believe something is not okay.
Maybe speak to an example of like the not raining on Tuesday. That's like...
Oh yeah, for sure. So then in this new operating system, there is a reality that you can believe that can allow you to fundamentally believe you're okay. So when she's having this like overwhelming experience, like I know I'm okay. Like, so anytime I'm out in the world and I'm feeling like I'm not okay, I can remember this feeling and know that I'm okay. But it's like, it's typically not big enough. Like that moment where she's like, I am okay, is not big enough to withstand all of the stories that we have been told about what actually needs to transpire for you to be okay. Oh, my car just broke down. That means I'm not okay.
Right.
Oh, I just gained 10 pounds. That means I am really not okay.
Yeah.
Or this thing happened, so that means I'm not okay. Versus this whole other concept or idea that those things don't have anything to do with whether or not I'm okay. Beautiful
Example. It's reminding me of like what actually hit for me with this concept so that I could believe it was maybe it was even Byron Katie that said this. It was something to the effect of notice when you're really emotionally charged, like you're really afraid or stressed or worried, that there will always be a part of you somewhere inside of yourself that's like, yeah, so what are we going to have for dinner? Because I feel like it's that like, what are we going to have for dinner part that's like, yeah, we're fine. Just,
right.
But that there is a part of us that knows we are actually okay. But that it's so, it even like what we've been talking about lately of like, even if let's say a thought experiment here. We take on this belief and we're like, I am fundamentally okay no matter what happens to me. And then we're around other humans who do not believe that.
Right.
so hard to like hold that in yourself too. So like you're saying, with the experience being big enough, that is huge. I remember that experience in plant medicine too, where I mean, the first time I had it, I was like, nope, okay, we're good. We arrived. We're here.
Yeah.
I am just love, just radiating, pulsing love, and everyone's okay, and we're all one, and it's beautiful. And then you hit into like
the thing that usually happens is you make the assumption. You make the assumption that I just had this experience in plant medicine or wherever. Like, it doesn't have to be there. It can be where you just have this
out
experience.
in nature.
Yeah, where you're like,
house.
oh my gosh, like I can feel to my core that everything is okay. I think the hitch comes, or the issue comes, because we have attached okay to perfect. And so it's almost like there was before this experience, and now there's going to be after. And the after, it looks like it's going to be perfect. You know, like say you have this thing that you're worried about. You're trying to get a job, or you're trying to do this. And you have that feeling like, oh, everything's going to be okay. And then you're like, well, that obviously means I'm going to get the job. That obviously means that the thing is going to go my way. And so then you are open and you're happy and you're so excited. And then the thing happens and it doesn't go away, and you are devastated. And then there's the betrayal, and then there's the resentment, and then there's the hurt, and then there's what's wrong with me. And then can you even trust your intuition in that moment that told you everything was going to be okay? So it's like, what?
Yep.
So in that, like, so if
true.
you have an operating system of perfection, then you're never going to be okay. Ever, until you die, unless the savior comes or whatever. What were you going to say?
Oh, just that is maybe another way of saying perfection, like that your operating system is attached to okay, looks like
This.
results.
Yes.
Right? Looks like my life looking a certain way, me looking like a certain way, people treating me a certain way.
Yes. And the perfection thing comes up for me because I realized that in the way my unconscious mind would categorize things, it was all or nothing. So I'm either good or I'm bad. So I could do 99 good things and do one bad thing, and I'm bad. Because it's not like, it doesn't allow for both, because it's black and white. And so if good is defined as never doing anything bad, then I will never be good. I found those everywhere. It's just the equations that I was taught, this plus this means this, is where my pain came from.
Yeah, which maybe we could even name some of those equations. It's like the equation of you do all the right things, you never hurt anybody, you go to church every week, you read your scriptures every day. That equals safety. That equals,
And then what does safety equal? Safety equals never getting hurt. So what's actually hurting you, right? So safety would mean you never get in a car accident. You don't even trip on a sidewalk and hurt yourself. It's an impossible equation. Or the equation just always means I'm not safe, I'm not enough, I'm not okay. Because if I was, then literally my life would go how I want it to go in every moment. If I was loved, then every single thing that I came upon in my life that was either going to go my way or not go my way, it would go my way. Because that's what it's like to be loved, right? If you're loved, everything goes your way. So you could in a week have 5 things go your way and 1 not go your way, and your conscious mind is like, we're not loved.
And thus we're not okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this has been epic, and we could go on, and so we will. I'd love to have you back. But I'm just seeing as our time is coming to a close, thank you so much for this.
I think a great place to end is just that choosing to feel yourself and choosing to trust your feelings. It's not a small thing to embark on. And so maybe almost even having the respect for what that would mean and the courage. But I think it's how we come home. I think it's how we heal all the things.
Yep.
Is in having the way we feel matter again. And then we can effortlessly let it matter for people in our lives.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been such a joy. I'm so grateful for you coming on. Thank you,
I
Calli.
love coming. I love when you ask if I can. I was like, yep, right now?
I'll be right
Can we
there.
do it right now?
So good.